The knock came at midnight, soft at first, then urgent, small hands striking a heavy door that had not been opened for mercy in years. A girl stood there, trembling in the cold, eyes too old for her face, breath fogging the darkness as she whispered that her mama needed help. Inside, engines slept, scars told their own stories, and a man with a past heavier than the night lifted his head, sensing that one choice would change everything, but not yet knowing how. What happened next would ripple through the silence, through the snow, and through the hearts of people who believed they already knew who the Hell's Angels were. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Only Kindness. Your support keeps stories like this alive. The man was named Calder Rook, a road captain whose nights were usually loud and long, but this one had gone quiet after a hard week. The clubhouse sat on the edge of a town that pretended it didn't see it, a place of steel doors and worn couches, oil-stained floors and memories that clung to the walls. Calder had learned to keep the world at arm's length. He had learned that help came with strings, and promises were currency that ran out fast. Yet when he opened the door and saw the girl, bare sneakers, thin jacket, a scrape on her knee, something old and stubborn stirred. She didn't beg, she didn't cry, she simply pointed back into the night and said her mama needed help, and the words carried the weight of a truth that could not wait. The road outside was a ribbon of black ice and slush. Calder wrapped his jacket around the girl and called the brothers to their feet. There were no speeches, no grand plans, only the snap of zippers, the thud of boots, the low hum of engines warming like a promise kept. The girl's name was Maribel, and she led them through a maze of backstreets to a trailer crouched behind a shuttered mill. Inside, the air smelled of damp and fear. Her mother lay on the floor, pale and shaking, pain etched into every breath. The phone on the counter was dead. The neighbors were asleep or gone. Time was a narrowing tunnel. Calder had faced worse nights, but this one cut differently. He had lost people because help arrived late. He had learned the math of seconds and the cruelty of chance. He ordered the room cleared, heat turned up, and called for an ambulance while one of the brothers checked vitals with hands steadier than they looked. Another ran for blankets. Someone brewed coffee that would never be drunk. The sirens felt too slow, the minutes too long. Outside, snow began to fall, soft as forgiveness, dangerous as silence. The town had its stories about the Hell's Angels, and Calder knew them all. He had worn the weight of judgment like a second skin. But in that trailer, under a flickering bulb, there were only people trying to keep a woman alive and a child from breaking. When the ambulance finally arrived, the paramedics moved fast, their eyes flicking to leather and patches before settling on the scene. There were nods instead of questions. There was respect instead of fear. The mother was stabilized, lifted, and gone into the storm with red lights painting the snow. Maribel stood alone then, the bravest person in the room with nowhere to go. Calder felt the old walls rise, felt the reflex to hand the moment back to the world and walk away. But he didn't. He made calls. He found a neighbor willing to sit through the night. He left money on the counter without a name. He walked the girl to the door and watched the snow swallow the ambulance lights until there was only dark again. Word travels fast in small towns, and faster when it doesn't fit the script. By morning, the mill had a new story. By afternoon, the hospital confirmed the mother would live. By evening, a basket appeared at the clubhouse door, homemade bread, a thank you card written in careful letters, a drawing of motorcycles under a bright sun. Calder read it twice and folded it into his jacket pocket, close to the place that still hurt. Days passed. The snow melted. The town's gaze softened, just a little. Calder didn't change overnight. He still rode hard, still kept his distance. But something had shifted. The night had shown him that the line between who people think you are and who you choose to be is thinner than ice, and warmer than it looks. The brothers felt it too. They started carrying blankets. They answered calls they once ignored. They learned that strength could be quiet and still be strong. Near the end of that week, Calder drove past the mill and saw Maribel on the steps, bundled and smiling, her mother beside her, color back in her cheeks. They didn't wave. They didn't need to. The moment was complete without ceremony. Calder rode on, the engine's song steady, the road open ahead. If this story moved you, if it reminded you that help can come from unexpected places, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Only Kindness. Your engagement helps these true-to-heart stories reach the people who need them most. And before this ends, We'd love to hear from you. Please comment below and tell us what kindness means to you, or share a moment when someone showed up for you in the dark. At midnight, a girl knocked and asked for help, and a man answered in a way that stunned everyone, not because it was loud or flashy, but because it was human.